So, for someone who didn't watch Dune 1, what did you think about Dune 2?
Wow. I thought that I could perhaps see Dune 2 again, and then Dune 1, and then perhaps I might understand a little bit more. But I thought that there was a lot of movement and a lot of praise.
And what did you think of Dune 2 as someone who's read the book?
I read the book, saw the first movie. Does not end that way in the book. And I thought Chani was really cheated. So I feel like it was very anti-feminist in the end. Boom.
And we're back.
And we're back. Another episode of Star Wars for Daddies.
Today it's going to be a two-parter episode. Today we're going to talk about Dune 2 and Halo Episode
7?
7? Yeah, 7. On it. Or Thermopylae, I mean.
Which we both seen. We just walked out of the Dune theater and we watched Halo last night. So where are we going to start? Your choice.
Let's start with Dune 2.
All right.
So
Dune 2.
So we watched it. We finished it less than an hour ago. And we watched it in how did we watch? Like, what did we use to watch it, this movie?
we went to the theater, and we were it was my first time in a 4XD or whatever it's called, where you're physically getting thrown around the theater. Mostly is the crazy part when they were fighting and riding worms and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
it was. I have the to anyone who's thinking about watching the movie with 4XD, be aware that older people, the elderly, or maybe even the young, should not watch it in this way, because I think if we brought my grandmother there, I think she'd be
right. So the key thing is hang on to your popcorn, because there are times when you're getting thrown.
Oh yes, it was.
Okay, so let's just jump right to the plot, the whole thing. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a great. I feel that my opinion of the movie is a bit biased because of the 4XD of it. But I think that it was a very great movie. I'm told by a source of ours that the ending of the movie is different than the ending of the book originally.
So it sounds like the first two movies basically cover the first book of Dune. Maybe there's a bit more to the first book, but yeah, well, what I would say definitely is there's a lot in the movie, right? There's a huge kind of plot character twist that goes on. And which is so interesting, because I've seen so many interviews with cast members and stuff beforehand, and they did not give away that plot twist. And I think it took me a long time to adjust to that. And then also there's so many different factions and things going on, right?
So many names that it's hard to like.
It's such a complicated story. It's not just like these guys versus these guys, right? There's the religious side, and each side has religion and they're connected. There's the relationship,
Reverend mothers and the daughter or the sister, I guess,
and the relationship between Zendaya and Timothée, like their characters, right. and all the and the growing it's like a long arc, right? As he gains power, and as he he knows what's going to happen, right?
And like
he warns against it constantly.
Yeah, he's worried about it. He doesn't want to see all the damage that he's going to cause, but like he knows that like if he doesn't act in a way that he can if he doesn't act, then there will be no way to control the damage, basically. Like he sees that, like,
but he's also, I take it more like he's worried. He knows what's going to happen if he goes ahead. And so there's that like building the whole time, right? Where like he's worried about it, he sees it, he's warning people, and then he has to go, right? And and so yeah, so many different characters like
Yeah.
Emperor, Emperor's daughter, the
The
Harkness or whatever,
Harkonids.
Harkonids, and he's part of that
Yeah.
house, and it's like
The cool.
holy
Yeah.
moly, right? Like
And it's also
it's very like there's a lot of Game of Thrones going on in
yeah,
there,
it's
right?
interesting to see also the world that all these characters are on, like the Emperor's world, or and the Harkonids with like their black sun and like white
Yeah, that was
sky.
pretty
That
cool actually. Yeah, there
the
was
monochromeness of it all.
yeah, yeah. And it's so true. Like there's a real heaviness to it, right? Like it's a real kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
Nazi Second World War. A
Mm,
little bit. Like
yeah.
I mean, a lot of, Star Wars uses that as well,
Mhm.
right? Like kind of stormtroopers in
Yeah.
formation and all that.
Yeah.
But such and the gladiator scenes,
Hmm.
that's pretty crazy too, right? Like there's so many characters, right?
That part also, just thinking about it now, reminded me of like the Game of Thrones. I haven't watched it
Right,
personally.
right.
However, with the parts where like, oh yeah, this guy who's like fighting in the gladiator pit, like he's the knee or the niece or whatever, and like he's crazy, he's
Yeah.
unstable. Um, but there was also, and like there's also those great scenes where like it's focused on like the sandworms, and like that was the riding of the sandworms. That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a really neat part of their culture that
Mm,
they ride around on the sandworms and
yeah.
stuff, right?
And yeah, so like again, for me it was a bit, I may be a bit biased because while we were in the theater we were watching this movie, and then there's this big sandworm scene, and we were literally like being grabbed, like went there to my aunts, and one of them was holding onto my arm as like the sandworm was going up and down and around, like
Yeah.
we're like,
Yeah, they were trying to make you in the 4D, they're trying to make you like feel like you're riding a sandworm,
yeah,
right?
like I made a joke that like oh, one of the things in this kind of movies that there's gonna be like scents and smells and stuff. Are like, are they gonna blast us with real sand and dust, or are they gonna like drop in some spice?
Yeah. 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 Yeah, it was good, right? There was fights, there was intrigue, there's like so much such an intricate plot, right? With all
Yeah,
the drinking of poisons and
and war
and
water of life and
water, yeah, all that stuff, and just and then like the central tension of this like love story that
mhm,
starts to unravel, right?
right.
And that's
And it's also interesting to see, for me, to see how like all these sci-fi, like the ships and like the
how how
soldiers' armors.
how they get drawn, you mean?
Oh, yeah, that like how they're like made to look like with all the like the and then there's the sandworms, and then like to me the a standout part was like when they brought out those nuclear devices, and to me that
Right,
like makes me think of like, oh, that's a 21st century
right.
item.
Yeah.
uh so, but yeah, it's an amazing movie,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's good. You know what? Both of the movies, there's so much going on and so much detail, and
Mm,
having not read the book and digested it, the names and everything, it's definitely a movie I want to watch again,
yeah.
right away, just to like see different parts of it, sort
Right.
of,
So, like you watched it the first time, so you know all the stuff, but now you're rewatching it just to like really digest.
Yeah, and it's weird, as I said on when we walked home, was like it's long, right? It's
Mhm,
almost
yeah.
3 hours, and I felt like it was an episode that was going to end, kind of like I was wondering, I don't know,
Where's
just like
the
what,
cliffhanger ending?
yeah, like there's just so many different like plot kind of evolutions, things happening and stuff,
I think
and
it's because of the Halo show that we're
I guess,
watching,
yeah, I
so we're
guess,
used to like ending.
yeah, I guess
Yeah,
so. Anyways, yeah, it was great
yeah,
movie.
highly recommend
Yeah,
it,
highly recommend it.
especially in the 4XT.
Yeah, and yeah, and yeah, okay. So what about Halo? We
All
watched it
right,
last night. Halo Level
Halo
7,
episode 7. I've
Thermopylae,
episode okay
Season 2,
season
Episode
yeah.
7.
All
Yeah.
right, so I gotta say, episode 6 that gave me hope. you know, like that was a good episode. You know, like had issues again, but you know, it was a good episode. But Halo episode 7, that has thrown me in. I'm now a bit worried because this was an actually truly amazing episode, and I'm worried that like how's episode 8 gonna ruin it? But you know,
You
I've
mean
got
you enjoyed it so much?
that like I'm worried now
Yeah.
because of how the show's gone on.
Yeah.
So episode 7, it's got quite a few amazing scenes, like the battle, like when the opening shot where you know Marquis is talking to the Master Chief on the Halo ring,
Right.
and
Right.
like, you know, talking,
Yeah.
and then it cuts back to her surviving this battle on the Covenant ship, which looks a bit weird, but you know, and then, you know, then there's all these other scenes where like the Spartan 3, like the first company of Spartan 3s get like wiped, but now at the end of the episode, you know, the second group of Spartan 3s come in, and the reveal, there's some there's some interesting reveals in this episode that like really like shocked me, and like people on the internet have also been shocked. Shout out to Hidden Xperia. I watched your episode, so you know, give me quite of insight on that. You know, big thing for me, one is how the spike isn't like just a virus that like disables ship.
Yeah,
it's
a bomb.
yeah, right? It's basically like a nuclear
sends a virus to the warp drive or whatever.
The
fusion drive.
Yeah, fusion drive.
Yeah.
And you know, like that overloads it, and it will cause it to explode, and all the other ships around it to explode. So you know, wiping out that whole fleet, which is definitely a plus, and you know, a Covenant ship.
Yeah, so they have a lot. So there's a lot of the characters have to make a lot of decisions, and
Right,
there's
a lot of sacrifice.
Like, a lot of sacrifice going on.
Because, like, you know,
the woman that's the
head chairman of like.
No, I was saying the soldier, the Spartan 3,
right,
who's you know, who likes, you know, who whatever Master Chief met her on Reach kind of thing, right? Like she's got to go off to, you know, like Master Chief needs to do his thing. She has to go sacrifice. People are getting sacrificed.
And it's like, you know,
the other Spartan
2 is going.
She goes off with them to lead them.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much going on, but there's also a lot, and but then of course there's the whole plot line around the
facility, the
lab of the what do they call them again?
The Forerunners,
right? Which they haven't even used that word yet, and just all of that discovery, and the star map, right?
Okay,
that's
so
from the cave,
let's talk about that. So you know, there's a scene there throughout the episode. There's a scene where like they take this kind of they're like talking about discoveries that they've made. One of like the human genomes mixed in with like another species,
right?
And then in the other kind of pillar that they get it from, some sort of like key sort of thing that they pull out, and then there's that thing where I think it's Quan. She pulls out this kind of metal thing that glows in one of the doors.
Yeah.
And it like reveals a star map.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, they try to figure out what's to do. So like they put it in how the stars look like now,
but as opposed to what they look like.
Yeah. And then they, you know, discovered that like, we need to move because of Quan. They like move it to where originally were like millions.
Quan reorients the night sky to what she saw in the cave.
Yeah.
Right. And
then it opens this door, and then across this energy bridge, like they enter what seems like a very dark place with an energy bridge. And then on the door that they go across to, there's 2 symbols, and you know, they're saying like, oh yeah, the opposite. So thanks to Hidden Xperia once again for this. The bottom one is the symbol for Guardian, but the top symbol is a symbol that has been found throughout Halo and was think first in Halo CE, which is the symbol for the flood.
Oh,
So
like the great disaster of sort of.
oh yeah.
Huh.
So it's interesting. So when they go through this room, they find like these vials containing something. And then in the very back of the room, they discover
It's like-
this like curled up
creature.
So
with that, like whatever it was,
right,
that
that
the creature
contain
the basically comes out being that was probably a scientist and that was their work, right?
specifically a life worker, which is a kind of caste of the Forerunner species.
Right.
So they, before the doors close and stuff, they, the one of the one takes what was inside of her in her hands and runs, and then the lights come up on throughout the facility, and like it's revealed to be this massive installation under the planet,
like a city.
yeah. So here's another thing, it's possible that that's either a city or a shield world, which is kind of like another version of the Halo rings, but instead of like a ring, it's like in a like hollow planet, basically.
Oh wow.
So it's either that or Forerunner City. Either way, that's huge.
Yeah.
And then the ending of that part of the show, where it talks, where like one like all the stars in this map turn red.
I think that's my favorite part, was just that like 3D star thing,
right.
And just,
and like,
when
but
she was figuring stuff out.
Originally it was like white and like different colors, but then all the stars turned red at the end. And like that's, and she said, Quan said
she'd seen a monster or something, right?
Yeah,
right.
She said like, this isn't just their empire expanding. Something else is spreading.
Right, something else is going on. So maybe they have released something.
I think it's possible that what both in the vials that they saw, but also what they took from that facility.
Yeah.
So
there's some kind of virus or some
some blood, possibly. And I've got to say, they just took the cat of all cats out of the bag.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's what caused that Forerunner Empire to.
Was the flood?
Yeah.
The flood erased the Forerunner Empire?
I'm not sure how they're gonna do it. I think they're doing it originally like how in the lore it is, but yeah, this flood, I'm gonna try not to spoil it, but the flood is the reason for this powerful godlike empire to collapse.
Oh.
And it is quite a bit. So there's that actually truly amazing scene. And then at the end as well, where Master Chief, like this episode is really interesting. It managed to have like several, like to me at least, some people may disagree, but to me, several different plot lines, and some of them were a bit strange, but others were amazing. One of them, the last one I think we were talking about, is Master Chief looking at his armor. Master Chief finally, after like 4 episodes, finally is able to put back his armor.
Yeah, he gets his armor at the end of it, right? And they talk about the people, the other armor that's there, and who
and like
lost and stuff.
Finally, they're gonna arrive on what I believe the Halo ring. So
and we also moved through, some of the deception, right? Like some of the deception of
Cortana.
No, that was coming next, but like of the general, the other guy who took over all of the Spartan program, like that stuff has been revealed, right? Because
Master Chief appears.
Is still alive, and people had told lies about that. But the other thing is Cortana. There was one part because from the last episode I was so interested in whether she was
a triple agent,
whether she was just she would switch and serve whoever she was serving, like whether she's programmed to always serve that person somehow, or serve
or maybe it's that she's trying to bring them all together, and like,
right, is she trying to do something, or is she just serving people, right? And that's but hold on. But when she came back, there was somebody that was asking her, right? And was trying to get information out of her. She didn't lie, but it was kind of like her code wouldn't let her lie, even though she didn't want to give this person the answer.
So
So the only way she could do it is take it super literally, right?
right. What was
And
it?
it was the religious guy.
Mm,
She appeared
right. It
when
was
the religious
elite.
the elite was looking for the chosen one,
Yeah.
right? And so Cortana came in to try and save her, and like, you know,
She told him things that weren't lies, but
weren't
like,
lies, but she didn't come out and tell him what he wanted to
yeah.
know. She was being very literal. And so I'm just sort of curious because that would suggest that maybe she can't lie, right?
So I'm thinking it's maybe not exactly that she wasn't lying per se.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
She wasn't
no,
lying.
yeah,
And
no,
maybe she's not, her
yeah.
coding doesn't let her
So
lie.
interesting thing about this, we may have talked about this a bit in the last episode, but she's a smart AI, and which is means she's based off a human brain, a human brain, specifically a clone of Halsey. So
Right.
like, she's this like extremely powerful AI who's able to like multitask basically. Like, she led the Master Chief to his armor, and also, was helping Maquis and like all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm there's I'm really interested in how this next episode and also the future season is gonna go, because
Right.
they're Hidden
Cortana
Experiments.
has become in some ways a much more interesting, like has become a character, right, on her own.
Yeah,
And
which
it is sort of interesting to see the way
an AI kind of.
yeah, but I just mean that there must be rules, right? Like she must have rules in some way, and I'm sort of curious to see how those rules, like I think that she, for instance, maybe she can't lie. I don't know if she had maybe I don't know if she has to serve every human, right? Like, or she can serve one above. Anyways, I'm just
Maybe
there's a lot
it's her trying to like do her best to like make all the like end goal of maybe
she
saving humanity, and to do this
could.
she's just like playing the sides,
Yeah.
just to like ensure that everyone
Yeah,
survives.
she could, like, we
Yes.
just don't know.
Yeah,
I'm really
so
curious.
I'm really interested in seeing what the next season and the next episode will bring, because honestly, like Hidden Experiments also said, this could go down the lines of they get on the ring and that's the whole season,
Right.
or maybe it's that mixed in with what's going to happen in those labs, with what they'll unleash.
So all the different plot lines, right? We've got the ring, we've got the labs, and we've got the battles, as well as the two different internal issues, right? Like the politics of the
Right,
humans
and the Covenant as
and
well.
the politics of the Covenant and kind of the deception. Like there's a lot of different stuff going on.
It's really interesting because in the beginning part of that season, where like I mean episode where when Thelvadam's ship arrived and like was illuminated yellow and all the other ships in red, I was thinking like, oh, maybe this fleet is come here to like stop him. But it seems that they're actually working with him, like under, because he's a ship master and like controls a whole bunch of ships that are like under his command, so they'll go with him. So it's interesting to see what's gonna happen with this. Like,
Right.
and also, the humans at the end of the episode have arrived onto this massive ship, like a group of ships. So like I'm interested to see, first Spartan 3 engagement, what's that gonna look like? Because like the leader of the human army, she sent them to do a sacrifice basically
Yeah.
of like like you guys may unknowingly die, but you'll take out a whole fleet and deny the Covenant the ring, which is an understandable sacrifice,
Right. Yeah, so there's that going on, and then you've got all the different factions of
Yeah.
people who want to try and, who think it's too much they got to discover or whatever,
So so I'm really excited for the next episode. Hopefully we'll be able to.
Yeah, we may not be in the same spot, but
Yeah.
we're excited to see you next week and bring you episode 8, season 2 of
Yeah.
Halo, and who knows what else sci-fi's going to be out there. So
Mhm.
hope you liked our episode.
Yeah.
Questions, guests, we're always happy to
Yeah.
talk sci-fi here on Star Wars for Daddies.